Let me ask you a question. How would your life change if you could speak and communicate with the same passion, energy, and conviction as the greatest guests on London Real? How would that change your business, your relationships, your impact on the world, and your future? What if I could take you behind the scenes and show you how the very best influential speakers prepare in order to inspire millions? And what if you also had world-class mentors teaching you how to speak with influence and persuasion? It would be a complete game changer. So if you want to learn how to inspire others and get recognition from the people around you, whether you're commanding a boardroom, rocking a stage, or pitching your clients, then pay close attention to this video. Because you're going to discover how to become a powerful speaker who can inspire any audience and make a real impact in the world. This video won't be up long, so now is the time to take action. Hi, my name is Brian Rose, and I'm the founder and host of London Real. I spend my life interviewing the most inspiring people in the world. Names like Simon Sinek, Gary Vaynerchuk, Ido Portal, Dorian Yates, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Wyclef Jean, and many more. In the past 6 years, London Real has grown from a passion-fueled idea into a worldwide media empire. To date, my episodes have been watched by over 50 million people around the world. I inspire hundreds of thousands of people every day and make a huge contribution to the world with my work and my message. Welcome to my brand new series, the Speak to Inspire Workshop. The purpose of this series is simple. I want to show you a proven path to becoming a world-class inspirational speaker. You'll discover 6 years of inside secrets taken from the most influential speakers I've interviewed on London Real. You'll also get the methods and strategies I used to create my TED Talk that was viewed over 275,000 times, which was responsible for the creation of countless other real podcasts in cities around the world. And lastly, I'll reveal specific techniques that I have learned and applied to help you become a world-class speaker. Methods that help you articulate your thoughts into speeches that create impact. Strategies that allow you to speak persuasively while coming from a place that's authentic to you. Storytelling that leaves your audience spellbound and wanting more. But before we dive in, I have to warn you. Living a life that lacks persuasive speaking skills can seriously handicap your career. You can easily lose out on opportunities to people with less talent because you might not have the confidence to say what you really think. But if you can articulate your thoughts into punchlines, structure messages for impact, and speak persuasively, then you don't have to worry about these problems. By using your voice to influence and inspire, you can capture anyone's attention and make them believe in you. If it's bigger influence in your career, more recognition on a stage, or just better opportunities to choose from, then becoming an influential speaker will create a drastic difference in your life. In this first video, you're going to discover the 4 big ideas that you can use to deliver an award-winning speech to nearly any audience. This will make you stand out from the crowd and leave your audience inspired to believe in you and your biggest goals. So if you're in a career, but you aren't landing the lucrative opportunities you want, or if you're a speaker who can't break through into the spotlight, or even if you're an entrepreneur who isn't getting the customers you need for your business, then stay with me, because we'll uncover how one big idea holds the power to your untapped influence. I'm teaching this series because I see so many people trying to speak with influence, but instead getting ignored. Unfortunately, I see a lot of speakers who rely on enthusiasm and passion and get confused when their audience just doesn't seem to care. I understand this very well because honestly, that was my story too. I used to be an introverted science geek from MIT with no desire to be an inspiring person. In fact, I didn't give an actual talk for the first 40 years of my life. And thank God, because I would have felt bad for anyone listening. Speaking to an audience from a stage is so far out of my comfort zone, it's not even funny. You would never know it from seeing my interviews and videos, but I am a total introvert. I think the reason I started London Real was because I wanted to communicate with people, but I was too nervous to talk to a live audience. Deep down, I wanted to expose my message to bigger audiences and become a person of influence so more people would listen. But it felt like I was just spinning my wheels with no clear path on how to get there. I never had any formal training on inspirational speaking or how to articulate my thoughts for impact. This whole influence thing was an esoteric mystery that felt out of reach for an introvert like me. Then it slowly became clear. You see, every week I get to interview a guest on London Real, and we talk about health, fitness, science, business, and everything else the world needs to know about. And I was always mesmerized by my guests' masterful speaking. That's when I realized London Real was a PhD level education in the art of influence. And I was literally the only student in the classroom. Many times they would share things with me off camera that were a goldmine of expert advice. In fact, here's one of the most counterintuitive secrets they taught me about influential speaking. Did you know the amount of advertising messages we're exposed to is more than 5,000 per day? Look around. Everyone's riding the tube with their face glued to a smartphone. Or there's an endless amount of you have to watch this TV shows fighting for your time. Distraction is at an all-time high, which means our focus is at an all-time low. People now have the attention span of a goldfish, literally, which leads us to the secret. Passion is not enough to capture people's attention anymore. Just like the thousands of ads competing for our time, amateur speakers are now overwhelming us with high energy and enthusiasm just to get their voices heard. If you want to inspire and create a real impact, you can't afford to cross your fingers hoping people pay attention. But there's good news. You can easily stand out from everyone else, but there's only one way to do it. You must discover your big idea. Passion alone is what novice speakers rely on. But if you can articulate your enthusiasm into a powerful idea and deliver it with impeccable timing, then your speech will slice through the noise and capture your audience's attention immediately. But for now, let's focus on that first important step, how to find your big idea. We'll start by sharing the truth about finding your big idea and why it's so important. Then, we'll dive into the 4 different ways you can come up with one. Are you ready? Okay, let's do this. Now, the problem with most speakers is that they don't have an exciting idea. But that's because they don't know how to create one. Giving a speech without a compelling idea is the fastest way to make your audience forget you exist the moment you walk off stage. You'll continually deliver weak presentations that your audience will never remember. You'll struggle to tap into persuasion and influence, making you lose out on new business, opportunities, and customers. And you'll struggle to create a noticeable impact in anyone's life using your voice. The most charismatic body language and captivating stories can't remedy a speaker who hasn't nailed their big idea. But if you have your big idea down, you'll immediately join ranks with the top inspirational speakers who inspire millions every day. You'll be able to articulate your thoughts into messages your audience remembers forever. You'll inspire your boss, clients, and most loyal customers to believe in you, earning you more lucrative business opportunities. And you'll make a meaningful difference by creating ripples of impact in people's lives. This is the power a big idea can have on your influence as an inspirational speaker. Now let's get into the 4 main ideas. They are the Eureka, the 2.0, the Angle, and the Visionary. Let's start with the Eureka. The Eureka is a penny drop moment where an idea or an answer appears in an instant. The best example I know is Simon Sinek's Start With Why. His TED Talk was watched over 7 million times, and it all centers on the concept that everything we do in life starts with why. And the most successful companies like Apple Computer, the most successful movements like that of Martin Luther King, all start with the why. And the what and the how come secondarily. Simon spoke about this at length and shows that all great companies and great movements always have a bigger mission, a bigger picture of what really drives them. And it's not the details on how they execute or what they actually do that really makes the difference. When we buy an iPhone or when we buy an iMac, we buy into the ethos of the people in California that are building great pieces of machinery that will change our lives forever. And Simon Sinek coming up with this realization is a perfect eureka moment where he saw the world and said, everything must start with why. If you have the sudden realization of an idea or an answer, then you have a eureka moment. The second is the 2.0. The 2.0 takes a currently existing idea and takes it one step further. And the perfect example of this is Dan Pena, the $50 billion man, with his slogan, just do it. Or in all honesty, it's just effing do it. Now, we've heard this said before by people in the past, but Dan takes it to the next level. He goes into your head and says the reason you are not taking action is because of the fears that are inside your head, those that you got from your parents, and that fear is actually an acronym for false expectations appearing real. Dan is there to push you to the limit, and he brings a new spin on an old idea in order to make it current, relevant, and get you to take action. So if you want to take a pre-existing idea and take it one step further, the 2.0 is the idea type for you. Next is the angle, where you explain a pre-existing idea in a brand new way. And the perfect example of this is Ido Portal, the movement teacher, with his entire philosophy. He explains it as a paradigm shift. Human movement has always existed as long as we have existed here on this planet. But he talks about the contents and the container and looking at movement from a whole new lens and therefore incorporating an entirely new philosophy. He's built a business out of this, and he inspires millions of people around the world just by looking at it from a slightly different angle. If you see things in the world in a different way, this could be the idea type for you. And lastly, we have the visionary. This is the boldest type of idea for people who live with the future in their minds. And a great example of this is Jocko Willink, the U.S. Navy SEAL who coined the term extreme ownership. And this is an entire philosophy, a way of looking at your life where you take ownership of every single aspect and outcome that happens around you. Whether it's someone else, technology, the weather, political events, anything, you take ownership. And by doing so, you are no longer a victim of anyone else's circumstance, and you decide your own destiny. This is a visionary concept, and if you are thinking big and about the future, this could be the idea type for you. Now, I want to give you one simple but very important principle for coming up with your big idea. In an advertisement for one of Apple's new product launches a few years ago, Chief Design Officer Johnny Ives said, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." Why is simplicity best for creating an idea? When I think about the greatest guests on London Real, some of their pictures are here on the walls of the studio. They all have one thing in common. Their ideas are very simple. Simple to understand, simple to grasp, simple to execute on. And that is your acid test. Can you explain your idea in one sentence? If you can, you could be sitting on something that could literally change the world. So simplify, simplify, simplify. Try to own that one single concept and make it your own, and refine it until it's something that's unique to you, that you can convey to someone else within one sentence. If you can take your time and boil that idea down to one sentence, then you potentially have a winner. Now the big question is, how do you present your big idea in a way that's persuasive and authentic without sounding unnatural? How do you articulate yourself so you captivate an audience while coming from an authentic place that feels honest? This is the most important aspect to anyone's growth as an influential speaker. If you can't speak with authenticity, then nobody will take you seriously. If you're worried about these things, you'll love our next video. You'll learn why authenticity creates big success for the greatest speakers on London Real, giving them thriving businesses, worldwide recognition, and the ability to impact millions. You'll also get a behind-the-scenes breakdown of my entire TED Talk, why I left millions in banking to inspire millions online. I'll share the exact strategies, methods, and tactics I used to create a highly inspirational 16-minute speech that changed my life. You can use these methods to deliver powerful presentations that inspire your audience to become your biggest advocates. I've never shared these high-level speaking techniques to the public, so stay tuned for video 2 to be the first ones to hear it. But before we go, I wanted to do something really cool I think you will like. I want you to choose one of your 4 ideas, the Eureka, the 2.0, the Angle, or the Visionary, and record a 1-minute video on something important to you and post it in our free Facebook group below. Once you post it in the Facebook group, I want you to go and watch 3 videos posted by other members and leave a comment. This is really important and I will be watching. This is a great way for me to get to know you and so you can meet everyone else in this community too. Again, choose one of the 4 ideas and record a 1-minute selfie video on something important to you and post it in the Facebook group down below. If you know anyone struggling to find their big idea, give them a hand by sharing this on Facebook or sending them a link directly. Now I want to leave you with one last thing. It's a quote by Dale Carnegie, the author of How to Win Friends and Influence People. It says, "There are always 3 speeches for every one you actually gave. The one you practiced, the one you gave, and the one you wish you gave." Let me ask, how many times do you say something only to come up with an even better thing to say after the moment already passed? How would your life be different today if you said the right thing in the right moment? And not just saying the right things, but saying it with influence and persuasion. Whether you're giving a presentation at a board meeting, pitching big clients, or speaking on a stage to hundreds, what if you could get what you wanted by inspiring people to support your biggest goals? Becoming an influential speaker can change your life in more ways than one. And that's exactly what I want to help you achieve in this video series. I can't wait to see you on the next video.